watching Top Headline News. Thanks, subscribe to get more news.
Law enforcement skeptical of Biden's ill-timed pivot to executive orders on police reform, not sustainable. Law enforcement organizations are expressing concern and skepticism of Biden's reported plan to resort to the use of executive orders on police reform, saying it is not a sustainable means of achieving long-term change, and a political attempt to distract from the administration's week of defeats. The executive actions are still being finalized, according to NBC News, but are expected to be rolled out at the start of Black History Month in February as the administration tries to achieve policy goals leading up to the President's State of the Union address in March. The House of Representatives successfully passed the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act along party lines in March 2021, following Floyd's murder by a police officer in Minneapolis. However, months of negotiations among a bipartisan group of senators failed to produce a police reform bill, so the White House is expected to turn to executive powers of the president to accomplish sweeping police reform. Laura Cooper, executive director of the Major Cities Chiefs Association, MCCA, told Fox News Digital that executive orders in lieu of congressional legislation is not sustainable over time. Executive orders in lieu of congressional action is not a sustainable means of achieving and instituting change. Being pro-reform and being supportive of law enforcement are not mutually exclusive, and the MCCA hopes that any executive action taken will reflect a balance between improving law enforcement transparency and best practices while being supportive of the men and women who protect and serve our cities, said Cooper. Biden is also receiving heat for turning to police reform after a week of major losses on the filibuster, the OSHA vaccine mandate, and more to start 2022. On Thursday, the Supreme Court blocked Biden's push to force employers across the country with over 100 employees to vaccinate their workers, and voting rights reform stalled in the Senate after a push to suspend the filibuster was blocked by Democrats. Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith, spokesperson for the National Police Association, told Fox News Digital that Biden is switching gears to police reform in order to deflect from one of the worst weeks in his presidency. After the worst week politically in his presidential career, it appears that Joe Biden plans to pivot to police reform to prop up his faltering reputation and revive his popularity with anti-police activists, said Smith, calling it ill-timed as killings of police officers skyrocket as well as violent crime. The priority of the White House should be to protect all communities, instead of pandering to a militant wing of idealists and activists who believe that police officers are the problem, not the solution, to violent crime. The National Police Association encourages the president and his staff to make decisions utilizing the facts about crime in America, as well as about police use of force, and stop engaging in false rhetoric designed to vilify our profession. Smith also said that the law enforcement community needs leadership, not partisan pandering. Right now, we need President Biden's leadership, not his partisan pandering, if we are going to save the lives of both American law enforcement officers and the communities we are trying to protect, said Smith.